Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, y'all, thank you. I know we're a little late, but we've had a lot going on, and I'm just going to remain standing and ask you to please stand with me as we call this meeting to order of the mayor and board of aldermen for the city of Natchez. We would like to begin with a word of prayer to be followed by our pledge. First of all, let us pray. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given us and the opportunity we have to come together tonight to make decisions on behalf of Natchez, to work together for the betterment of our city. And Father, we thank you for every person here. We ask your blessings on all of those who are on our hearts this evening. Father, just thanking you for each and every day you give us. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let us now repeat together our pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Alderwoman Hall.
Here.
Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderwoman Irvin.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Maroney.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all are present and have it.
Thank you. And it is so good to have Madam Clerk tonight being Pam Patterson. Our city clerk is out on illness this evening, and our prayers are lifted to her. But Pam Patterson has served this city for, my goodness, 28 years?
30.
30 years. It gets away from you. Also, when she looks so young, my goodness. Well, thank you, Ms. Patterson. We will have approval of minutes. Madam Clerk, could you lead us through the approval of minutes?
Sure. We're asking for approval of special call February 10th, 2026.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Approval for regular call meeting February 10th, 2026.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion? We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. We have a matter of business that we're going to ask you to allow us to move on up on the agenda before we go any further, because no reason to have him, wait around. But I'm grateful to see Mr. Butch Johnson here in person, because we have a recognition we'd like to make. Mr. Butch Johnson has served the city a number of years, and we hate to see him step down from his service on our planning commission. I first met Mr. Johnson when I was trying to get approved for a bed and breakfast here. And I didn't even have to worry about it because my neighbor, Mary Ide, had already gotten the approval for me. Do you remember that? But that was, gosh, I think in the year 2016. Yeah.
I remember, yeah.
And so we want to give you this certificate of recognition and grateful recognition of 15 years of dedicated service to the Natchez Planning Commission. Your commitment, experience, and thoughtful leadership have played an essential role in guiding the growth and preservation of our community. Through your steady involvement and willingness to serve, you have helped strengthen the planning process and supported the work of the commission with professionalism and integrity. Your presence, insight, and collaboration will be sincerely missed, but your contributions will continue to benefit Natchez for years to come. Presented to Butch Johnson, member of the Natchez Planning Commission. So you have a seat. I'd like to invite Alderman Hall. Would you like to come and stand with us in this picture? And also our city planner, and any of the members of the board that would like to come forward.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would also like to say that there is a member of the planning commission too, so she's.
Oh,
she's
Miss Jackson?
As well.
Why don't you come forward, Miss Jackson, and stand with us? Thank you, Alderman. Yeah.
Thank you. How you doing, sir?
Good.
And thank you for your service.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
And we're going to. Thank you. Good to see you, Mr. Jones. And I'm going to ask if we could, Ryan, do you have your camera handy?
I do.
Would you mind coming and taking a picture with us?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, all right, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. Bingo, appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, you're
Very much there, having you in person.
All right, man, appreciate it.
You know, Butch is also a very faithful usher at Jefferson Street Methodist. I have never been there on a single day when he was not there.
That's what God does.
It's amazing.
That's what God
Your-
does.
your faithfulness
He
to our
coming,
church.
and coming, and coming. Oh, yeah.
Take care, Butch. At this time, we're going to move into a public hearing on adjudicated properties. And we will, at this moment, entertain a motion to call to order that public hearing. Second motion made by Alderman Maroney and seconded by Alderman Davis. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. And so we now are in this public hearing, and we are going to hear from Officer Vasquez on the properties that are being considered for adjudication tonight. At the end of the code enforcement officer's presentation, any property owners who are here in person who would like to speak to the board on behalf of any properties on the list he's presenting will be recognized for a few minutes to speak. And so, Officer Vasquez, we are glad to see you.
Glad to see you, Mayor. Glad to see y'all board. Good evening.
Good
Good evening.
So we're going to be presenting a total of 8 properties. I believe y'all were shown more than 8, but some were pulled because of some permitting. Get their permits, the building permits. But this is just the Mississippi Code, Title 21, Chapter 19, 21-19-11, which gives us the legal right to bring it before y'all and have them adjudicated. And there it is again, 21-19-11. This is the procedure that we use, and same one every time. We receive a complaint, we do the inspection, whether that's a right-of-way inspection or with the consent of a neighbor on a neighboring property. And then we get the tax roll, the TSC, we re-inspect, they get a warning letter, and then finally a notice of public hearing. Case log book that we use to keep up with the properties, and the activity log. That's just for us really, but if y'all would ever like to look at any of that, we have that available as well. But the first property we're gonna be looking at is 5 Beaumont Street. It's gonna be for blight and offensive accumulations. It is owned by Cortez and Joanne White. They actually received their warning letter in, I believe it was June of last year. And the reason why they weren't brought at an earlier public hearing is because they were able to acquire a building permit, which has recently expired. And they were notified about this expiration of the building permit, and there was no progress on the property. The public hearing notice was held on the 6th of February, and it was rechecked today without change. They weren't able to acquire it, so that's on June of 2025, and this is the same property, June of 2026. And the left side, I just wanted to show both sides of the house, but it looks exactly the same. There's been no progress to the property whatsoever during the 6 month, the period that they have the building permit for. The next property is 16 Birdwood Drive. It's going to be for blight and offensive accumulations as well. It's owned by Andre Ramsey. They received their first warning letter on, I'm bad with my dates, but 07/01/2025. So this was over last year. And they were able to acquire again a building permit, and it's finally expired. We're bringing it before y'all. Same date. That's July 2025, and this is February. So exactly the same. If not,
I have a question.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving?
Okay, so I'm just asking, I see two houses on July 2025, February 2026. The focus is on one house or two? Because I see a lot of offensive, old growth of grass. So I'm just asking, this photo is showing one, the July 2025, I see two properties. So, or is that one altogether?
that's the same house.
Same house, okay.
That's the same house. It's just on the second picture, the PowerPoint didn't let me put the picture.
Gotcha.
There's
Okay.
a garage that extends out of that.
Gotcha.
I see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next house is 29 Claiborne Street, and it's gonna be for blight and offensive accumulation as well. It's owned by Jerry Douglas Estate. This was also, I believe, June. Yes, June of last year. And this was rechecked, same process. This property, actually, there was progress, but we were still presenting it because it's still in violation, so we wanted to leave it before the board. It was offensive accumulation, as you can see, you couldn't even see the house, and there was a small house back there. They did tear the house down, but there's still a very large pile of house debris and rubble, so we wanted to bring it before you. Okay, the next property is 1226 Daisy Street. It's going to be for blight and offensive accumulation. It's owned by James H. Turner. The warning letter was mailed April of, I believe that's April of last year, 04/24/2025. And same process, they got a permit, so we had to extend. The permit has expired. They've not been in contact with our office or acquired a new building permit. So this is in May, so the grass was going, and this is still now in February, it's still the same state, a little less grass. Okay, 51 Minor Street is going to be for blight and offensive accumulations as well. It's owned by Andrew Lovell Smith. This was, I believe, in May of last year that they received their first warning letter. And yeah, there was no progress to this property. They acquired a building permit as well. It has expired, and so it's before y'all. And the pictures, it's exactly the same on the right side, but I wanted to show both the front and the back. The whole back of the house is just still pointing out holes everywhere. Okay. Next property is 106 Oriole Terrace, and this is for blight. It is owned by Ralph E. Daniels. The first warning letter was mailed in June of last year, and same process throughout this month and early this month. I have the pictures there. That's June of 2025, and then February 2026. If you look at the corner, I wanted to show from the front. That first picture in June was taken from a neighbor's property with their consent, and that's the whole back side of the house is just collapsed in. And you can actually see it from the front on both sides, how it's collapsed. It's the exact same position. Okay, the next property is 504 North Union Street. This is going to be for an open cistern. It is owned by Jules C. and Melissa Delaverne. This was, we received a warning letter in January 9th, 2026. And we did all the rechecks and everything, but it was extended to this month. But they've actually been warned previously because they were going to be brought before y'all at the last meeting for offensive accumulation, which they cleared that, but they haven't filled up the cistern. So that's what we're presenting to you on.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I want to say this now, cisterns are filled by our public works department. So that's comes under the code as well. That's the one thing that we can do because that poses a safety hazard, a hazard in the community, in open space like that.
Mhm.
So if you
We have not received, the owner of the property has not given us consent to go on the property.
But
That's
you-
why we're presenting it, so we can get that.
okay,
permission.
so permission to go on the property and
Because
get it filled.
Because they have not
Okay,
allowed us to enter.
okay.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have 5 Rembert Street. This is going to be for blight and offensive accumulation. It is owned by Isabel K. Anderson Estate and Brenda Anderson. This lady, she did not receive a warning letter, but she was informed of this meeting, and our office has been in contact with her about this. So we're aware, we're in contact, we have a number, but there has been no change either with the grass or with the property. So that's why we're presenting it today.
And
And
then,
how far back does this go?
This is recent. This is from this year.
Okay.
And that'll be, yes, that is it. There's only some, after that, I got some properties for progress, if y'all would like to see.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
Officer Vasquez, 24 Beaumont and 504 North Union, those have been removed.
No, 504 North Union is there for the open cistern, I believe. Is that?
Oh, that's the open cistern.
That's the open cistern. 24 Beaumont has been removed because they have acquired a building permit. And when they have approval from the city to do their work, it's kind of a gray line for us to adjudicate the property when they've gone through. But we'll. Any other?
Okay, Alderwoman Irving.
yes, sir, in 5 Rembert Street,
5 Rembert Street.
that's the front, the back. Have you all been to the back?
Yes, we have pictures from the back and the side.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. We would love to see the progress. We'll see that when we conclude our public hearing. But at this time, we have had a presentation on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 properties. I'm going to ask if we have any property owners here that would like to speak on behalf of any of these 8 properties that have just been. Yes, sir. We would like to invite you to come to the podium, and we'll need you to sign in your name and address, and then feel free to then speak to the board for a few minutes. Okay. And sir, your name and address?
My name is Cortez White, 31 Bishop Street. That's my property around the corner. And what he said was no progress being made. Eventually he hadn't been bought yet because progress is being made.
Yes. This is which address?
Number 5, Beaumont.
5 Beaumont. Okay. Do you have any current pictures to show the progress that has been made?
No, I had my phone in my pocket, but I took it out at the house, put it on charge.
Yeah,
But I took pictures of it.
I see.
Where you show the siding is deteriorated weight.
Yes.
It's all new siding on that side of the
Yes.
house. So I'm working on that now. And then we had to
Um,
order the siding. The siding is not in stock.
So if you're looking at the picture we're looking at, what have you done since these pictures were
That
taken?
side over there to the left side right there, all that's been new lumber been put on that all the way to the top,
Okay.
all
All
the way
right.
to the gable.
All right. Is it possible for you to go get your phone and show these pictures to our code enforcement officer?
Yes, sir.
We'll come back around to you if you'd like to go get your phone.
I'll run and get.
All right, Mr. Cortez, thank you. Thank you. While he's doing that, do we have anyone else on behalf of any of these other properties? These
I got a
other
question.
8 properties. Yes, Alderman Fraser.
All these people they've been notified, they got a letter, right?
Yes, Alderman. And if, we also, post it on the property, 2 weeks at a time, which every single one of them except for Remember Street has been from last year, between May and, I believe August of last year that their original, warnings were issued. And so they have either made contact, and the reason that they acquired the building permit was because we were bringing them to adjudication earlier last year
Okay.
or later.
16 Birdwood.
Mhm.
You got in touch with those owners that own that property?
I would have to check on the records, but we for sure posted on the property. We sent it to every known address that we have with the properties and that are connected to the owners. Yes, sir.
And one more question. I was looking at on Oreo Terrace. Is anyone staying in the house? Are they living in the house or what?
So I believe there is somebody staying there because there's a car parked outside, but every time I go and try to make contact, nobody will come to the door.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank
Mr. Mayor, I
you,
have one
Alderman.
other question.
Yes,
too.
Alderwoman Irving.
51 Minor Street, and that's Andrew Smith. I know that's who you said. So you've reached out to him and he has not responded to anything. Is that what
This
you're
is
saying?
51 Minor Street?
Yes, sir.
So, okay, so this property was, I don't know if y'all want to go through, but 51 Minor Street. This was presented, they got a building permit. He actually sent the code enforcement office, he sent us plans of what he was planning to do with the house. And he like architect plans and everything like that. But there has been nothing, and he has not made contact with us this time around.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Do we have anyone here on behalf of any of these other properties that would like to speak? Yes, ma'am. If you would come to the podium, sign in, and then we'll be happy to recognize you.
My name is Joanne White, and my husband is going to check on the property for 5 Beaumont.
Yes.
But next door to us is house number 3 Beaumont. Okay, about a month ago, it's dilapidated. The house is. Okay, the house fell completely down. Okay, it caused my house and the house behind it. The debris was just everywhere because the whole house fell down. Okay, it was rats and everything there, so we having to deal with that. Then we have to deal with the part about insurance because that property is dilapidated there. Okay, now they came out, they had a notice on their property, I think, just like we did, number 3 Beaumont. Okay, they said they were gonna clear the lot, or either the city was gonna clear the lot because the whole house fell down. Okay, somebody came out there, they moved a portion of it, but all the wood and stuff still there in the yard. And the person behind it, it fell on the fence, so half it's still sticking over in the people's yard. But when we come here, I never heard number 3 Beaumont even mentioned, and it's right next door to our property. And now Cortez is going to get a picture of that property, of our property, 5 Beaumont. But because it's an old house, we had to order the special siding to go on.
That's exactly right.
All that somebody have it is Atkins Lumber Company. It takes almost a couple of months for us to get it back. We've gotten some of it back, and Cortez has repaired that part. And now we're still waiting for the rest of it to come back, and we're going to fix the roof. We're working on it. Now, that picture showed the 24th, what they last time they inspected, which is today, but that's not true because if they had showed the picture, it'll show we had started putting some siding on it. So I'm just saying number 3 Beaumont, it's never been mentioned. It wasn't mentioned the last time we were here. But the house that fell down, Alderman Hall can testify to that. That house right there on the corner.
Right.
Alderwoman Hall?
And we have adjudicated 3 Beaumont.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything about it. I mean, they moved some of the lumber, but the rest of it is still piled up there.
And that can lead to
Alderwoman
those,
Irving?
yes, sir, and that can lead to the rodents and you having to deal with all of that as well.
Right there,
So I
because
do
they need to
understand
tear
your
that, they need to
concern.
Go ahead and clear it off.
Yeah.
Now, we've offered to purchase the property from him, but the guy keeps saying he's gonna rebuild there. So when every time we offer to buy it, he'll say he's gonna rebuild. But then the next thing you know, the whole house fell down.
Mhm.
And it's been sitting there a while when it had fell down. Now somebody come out there and they moved a little bit of it.
Mhm.
I don't know whether it was the city or somebody, they come out and moved a portion of it, but the rest of it still piled up there in the yard.
Ms. White, let me ask our code enforcement officer if he can provide an update on 3 Beaumont.
Number 3 Beaumont.
Yes, ma'am. So, yes, it was going to be presented at this meeting.
Mhm.
It was not presented because they made contact with the office and they've acquired a permit to clear the property
Okay.
under the permit.
So to
That was-
update.
Okay.
Ms. Joanne, did
all right.
you sign in? Did you sign in,
Ms. White,
Ms. White?
if you would sign in, so we'll have a record that you were here. Yes. Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Ms. White, I understand the concern. All the houses around her falling in and like say, and falling on her place, clean up. Do you say that person got a permit?
They went through the planning department and they have a permit. to clear the
How
property.
long before they have to clean it up? Because like say, she's, it's still is trash and stuff still in the yard. Do they have a special time limit or what?
The permits last 6 months.
6? Well, Jesus Christ,
Mhm.
6 months.
Yes.
I agree with you, Alderman.
You got more roaches in 6 months.
Yeah.
You have more roaches than rats than
The
anything.
permit lasts
I
that
agree.
long, but I think we should give them a month at the
30 days.
most because that's a health hazard.
that
We
is.
can't allow that health hazard to continue. And so, when we get back into our regular meeting, I would like to entertain a motion that any of these properties that has legally gotten a permit be told if there is a health hazard to the community, which that is, that they should be required to make those repairs, cleanup, or anything within a month.
I agree.
I just think, and we can do that when we get back in our regular session.
Well, I just want to say this too, Ms.
Yes,
White, while she's
Alderman
here.
Irving.
If you see Ms. White home, it's immaculate around her home. I mean, from the sidewalk to the front porch.
Yes.
Her lawn is immaculate.
Mhm.
That's the way they keep their property.
Mhm.
And so, I do understand
Mhm.
your concerns with the rodents and all those things that are snakes, all of that is lying there. So it does need to be removed as soon as possible.
Okay.
So I do agree with you.
Mr. White, when he comes in, he can consult with
Mhm.
Officer
And he does his
Vasquez,
own
but at
work.
this time it appears that we don't have anyone else wanting to speak. So I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn our public hearing and return to our regular session.
So move.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Well, we are now back into regular session. I would like to entertain a motion that anyone who has obtained a permit to clean up a derelict property that poses a health risk to the community be encouraged to have that property cleaned within 1 month's time. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So move. But I
Okay.
also want to ask, Mr. Mayor,
Well,
does
they are
that,
required.
well,
Alderwoman Irving,
I just want
do
to,
you want to make the motion?
yes, sir, I do.
Okay, the motion
But-
has been made. Are we going to say encouraged or
Second.
required?
Required.
Required? Alderman Maroney has seconded that motion.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
When you stated that, what come to mind was, what does the ordinance say? Because that's what we have to rely
Yeah, we
on,
do
the
go by
ordinance.
the ordinance.
And that's why I was hesitant. I understand what you're saying, but I also want to see what's been put in place already, the ordinance.
Yes, Alderwoman Smith, did you have
We
something to add?
typically will make a decision on giving them 30 or 60 days. A lot of times we'll vote on it.
Okay.
I don't think the ordinance specifies it, but I know we've done that before when you knew of something
Yes.
that was.
Absolutely. And I agree with it. That's why I made the motion, but I also wanted to have the ordinance because that's what we need to deal with, our ordinance.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I think this is only applying to those properties that have been on our adjudication list. And so it would be instructions, our code enforcement officer, it's okay to take them off the list, but they should only be given 1 month's time to get that property cleaned up. So I'll call for the question.
Was
there a
second?
We got a
yes,
second.
Alderman Maroney
Maroney.
seconded the motion. So now we'll move toward a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Alderman, you have before you a resolution adjudicating nuisance properties in the city of Natchez. Once we make this motion to approve this resolution, we will then read the resolution for our minutes. The question is, which of these properties, these 8 properties presented tonight, are there any that you would like to remove from the adjudication resolution?
Do
Alderwoman
we,
Smith?
since they've repaired the sides, if the picture show that, we can give them, can remove that one, and then they can get to the front.
I'm willing to do that. I mean, just their being here tonight shows that they are very interested in cooperating. And I think that Mrs. White actually made a very good point about the condition of the property next door to them.
And she did, and I would just like to add,
Yes, Alderwoman.
I have to say, they have several properties in my ward,
Yes.
and everything is up to standard with
Okay.
residents being able to move in and they keep them clean.
So we would
Even with them
remove-
being empty, no one lives there. They manicure the
Thank you.
grounds that are there as well.
Okay,
They do
so
best.
5 Beaumont Street will be removed from the list. Okay. Do we have any other property that we wish to remove?
yes.
Alderwoman Irving?
51 Minor Street,
Yes.
Mr. Andrew, and I'm hoping that we could possibly reach back out to him again and see. I know he does not live here. He acquired the property. It's family property. So I know it's something he has shared deeply that he wants to restore again. He shared those same plans with me that he did with you all as well. So I'm hoping that we could just make contact and give him that time frame to go back, because he does have plan, and he does keep the grass cut. You don't have to do any of that more. When summer, spring come, the grass is cut on a regular
Okay.
basis.
Are we in agreement to remove 51 Minor Street? Alderwoman Irving
Yes,
is in
sir.
her ward and she's suggesting that, so I'd say we need to honor what she suggested. That leaves
Thank
6
you.
properties. At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to pass the resolution adjudicating nuisance properties in the city of Natchez pertaining to these 6 remaining properties: 16 Birdwood Drive, 29 Claiborne Street, 1226 Daisy Street, 106 Oriole Terrace, 504 North Union, and 5 Rembert Street. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So move.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Maroney. We'll have discussion.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Mr.
Alderwoman
White
Hall.
is back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. I believe the general consensus was to give more time on 5 Beaumont Street. But we can certainly look at the pictures, Mr. White, if you'd like to bring them here. And we'll ask the code enforcement officer to also approach, and we'll take a look at these pictures.
He's a carpenter himself. He keeps his properties immaculate. They just gotta do something.
Thank you, Mr. White. Oh, yes, I see a lot of new wood. Definitely. The process has definitely started.
Mhm.
Yes.
Can y'all see?
I've seen it.
I got faith.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
I've
White.
seen it.
Mr. White, we've already agreed to give y'all more time. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Okay, the question has been called. We will proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier, Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Maroney.
Aye.
The ayes have it, motion carries. At this time, I would like for Officer Vasquez to please read for the minutes the resolution.
Whereas the Charter of the City of Natchez, Mississippi provides power to the mayor and board of aldermen generally to ensure property is clean and maintained and to ensure the health, safety, and welfare. And whereas the mayor and board of aldermen, as authorized by state law and by section 42-881B of the Natchez City Code, following the provisions of the notice required by section 21-19-11 of Mississippi Code of 1972, as amended, held a public hearing on February 24th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at 115 South Pearl Street, Natchez, Mississippi, in the council chamber building, to determine if the properties herein described are in such a state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to public health, safety, and welfare of the community. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and board of aldermen in regular council convened that pursuant to the aforesaid section 21-19-11 Mississippi Code 1972 as amended, the condition of the following properties was considered at a duly noticed public hearing. The mayor and board of aldermen determined that one of the following conditions exist on the properties: grass and weeds over 12 inches in height, failure to maintain exterior of building, vehicles parked beyond 72 hours, dangerous or dilapidated structures, offensive accumulations, screening unsightly items, and pursuant to the report of the investigating code enforcement officer. So the conditions on the property are in violation of section 301.3 and section 302.4 of the 2009 International Property Maintenance Code, adopted by reference in the section 5.9.2 of the Development Code of the City of Natchez, Mississippi, 16 Birdwood Drive, 29 Claiborne Street, 1226 Daisy Street, 504 North Union Street, 106 Oriole Terrace, and 5 Rembert Street.
All right. Thank you so much. We will have that resolution spread on the minutes. One last thing, if you could, while you still have the floor, show us the progress on adjudicated properties.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
On the resolution, there is a, you did read the correct date, but there is a numerical error. The incorrect date is actually on the resolution.
Oh, and the
So
one
just
that,
make sure the correct resolution is put upon the minutes.
okay, February 24th, 2026.
Correct.
Thank you, Alderwoman Hall. Thank you. Yes, definitely. All right.
Okay, this is some of the progress on some of the adjudicated properties. This is going to be 27 East Woodlawn Avenue. This is some before pictures, and these are some after pictures. And then the next property is 95 East Oak Street. We haven't been able to get to the structure yet, but the weeds and the grass around have been cleared.
Wow. Great job.
Those are on a couple of the.
That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you
Thank
so
you. No,
much.
that's him and his crew. No, that's not Public Works.
Thank you so
They work
much.
on the weekend. Yeah.
We now will go to city business, and we have Kathleen Bond representing the Natchez National Historic Park. We are so grateful to Ms. Bond and the service she performs for Natchez. We have been back and forth, haven't we, a few months on a few years on a very historic piece of property the city owns that we want to convey to the Park Service because it happens to contain a very old brick bridge. But the bridge has been compromised with asbestos because of lines installed many years ago by AT&T. We've been working with AT&T to have the asbestos remedied. And Ms. Bond is here to give us an update. And we also will have further conversation at our next meeting in March with Mr. Michael Walker with AT&T.
We believe we will.
We hope we will.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all. I'm happy to be here with you again. If you've got the handout that I laid on your desk, I'm going to walk you through it very quickly. And I'm going to admit up front that I have as much background as I do information about progress, because that's what we need Mr. Walker for. If you turn to the second page, this is what we call the legislative map. So when the Forks of the Road site was designated by Congress in 2017, there was an 18-acre district, which you see with the green line, that was drawn around the site. And so we have the legal authority to acquire property within that boundary as we build out this site of Natchez National Historical Park. And as you can see, and I've already seen one error on the map, so I will tell you that, because St. Catherine Street, where it's written in the middle, is not St. Catherine Street. That's Devereaux. St. Catherine Street stops at that traffic light where Liberty Road runs into O'Farrell. But anyway, that gets you oriented. And so what we're going to be talking about tonight is the historic Old Washington Road that was abandoned when Devereaux Drive was made 4-lane. And if you turn to the next page, you see a couple of little historic drawings. And this was a mystery, because if you remember way back almost 5 years ago in 2021, when the city was preparing to donate property at Forks of the Road to the National Park Service, we, before the National Park Service can acquire property, we have to do environmental site assessments. And so the environmental site assessment was done on the small parcel, the triangle that was donated, as well as on the city-owned parcels around the bridge. The parcel that was donated was cleared. The part around the bridge was not, because they found pieces of a white material that contains asbestos. And these were pieces of conduit, and one of them was stamped with Bell South. So we knew that it was now AT&T. And so when we followed up with AT&T, we found out that, in fact, after Devereaux had been 4-laned, they laid conduit coming into downtown Natchez. And if you look at this first drawing, they came down out Devereaux, they turned at Concord, they went underneath Concord and right across the old abandoned Old Washington Road. And I guess that was easier than trying to get under Spanish Bayou. They went over it using the old bridge. And so that's where you can see here, it comes across the old bridge and continues up Devereaux. And so when we talked with the environmental specialist at the National Park Service about what would be required to remediate this environmental hazard so that the Park Service could accept the donation, they came up with 2 choices. One is we can remove all the conduit all the way across the city-owned parcel, which will be quite expensive. The second was that we could pick up the broken pieces, we could patch the eroded areas, and we could remedy the erosion. And asbestos is not a threat as long as it's not being eroded into the environment. And so based on the fact of the Bell South stamp, we did get in touch with AT&T, and lo and behold, AT&T agreed that they would do the cleanup. And so for 4 years, we have been working with AT&T on a plan for them to clean up. And then when they faced what they were going to be looking at in terms of stopping the erosion, which is terribly exacerbated by stormwater runoff coming out of the housing units, which were built in 2015. Now they've come back and said, no, we're going to take it all up. And so if you look at the next page, you will see a black line that indicates where that line ran with the conduit. But you will also see a new blue line where they have laid new conduit in the MDOT right-of-way. Which, yes, okay. It's actually slide number 4, if you can see the tiny number in the corner. And so here's where we stand right now. AT&T has laid their new conduit. I believe they've even switched the fiber optic all over.
Is that what they were doing recently?
Yes, you saw
Okay.
the big equipment
Yes,
that
yes,
they were laying
yeah.
out there.
Okay. So that was from the corner.
We have to know what they do next. Because if AT&T walks away and they leave that other there, the city cannot donate the land. And so Mr. Walker was to come bring us their plans. Because you'll see on the last page, what we're asking is that they show us their plans in advance so that we can review them. And we want to guarantee no damage to the brick bridge, because they're talking about taking up this buried conduit all the way across the property, including over the bridge where you cannot put big equipment. So there we sit.
And in my conversations recently with Mr. Walker, he has said AT&T is going to remove it all. And he originally was going to be here tonight, but he had another meeting that came up with the governor.
Yes.
He has said that he will be here on March 10th at 11 o'clock for our meeting then. But we wanted the board to have this background information. Ms. Bond, you have, as superintendent of the park, you have been tireless in your efforts to get this done correctly on our behalf, and we're very grateful. And I believe that they are going to do what they've said they're going to do. We have received some documentation from them recently, but let's keep the heat on and we'll see how things go on March 10th. Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Have they given a time frame? Are we giving them a time frame?
We may be the ones who have to give them a time frame.
Well, what we did, there was a letter sent under the mayor's signature last Thursday. And it asked that that the city receive notification, I believe 2 weeks, if we wanted 2 weeks review of their plans and at least a week's notification before they plan to start. I will say that our partners in acquiring most of the property at Forks of the Road are the National Park Foundation and the Trust for Public Lands. And while this removal is going on, they will hire for cultural resource managers to be on site. And these cultural resource managers will ensure that there's no damage done to the bridge. And then they will also ensure that all the proper documentation happens when all that asbestos is taken to a landfill, because that's what we have to show our environmental people, to show that it was removed. And so I feel like we've been a good team working on this together because it is city-owned property. We do not own it yet, but I think we have a common goal here that we're all working towards. Internal communication within AT&T seems to be a challenge. The field crews and the public relations people are not always in close contact. And the field crews would just go out and take care of it.
Yes.
And that's not what we need in this case.
Very, very likely at our next meeting, we will be seeking a motion that actually provides very specific instructions and a timeline for getting this clear.
Well, I plan to be here to hear all the good news.
I think you will be very integral in getting that good news ready to be shared.
And I do want to share one piece of good news. If you may or may not be aware that last year in May, the National Park Service did purchase the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses. And the congregation remains in the church while they prepare their new church, but they are planning to move out of that building by May.
That's wonderful.
And so we are working on plans for our first programming in July.
That's wonderful.
On site.
That's wonderful.
Very
Thank
exciting.
you. That is exciting. Alderman Maroney.
I just want to commend you, Kathleen, for your efforts. The federal government catches a lot of grief for being difficult to work with at times, and bureaucracy and that sort of thing, but it pales in comparison to dealing with AT&T. So, yeah, you are to be commended. It is a painful thing.
Might be like a perfect storm.
Pardon?
It might be like a perfect storm.
It's, yeah. And you said 4 years. That does not surprise me.
Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Mayor, Mayor,
Alderwoman Irving.
I was sitting here and just thinking, inquiring, you said about the removal of the asbestos and it's going to the landfill. So they're using the proper, once it gets to the landfill, I mean.
They have to
because-
use a landfill that's approved to take it.
But that's
And then they
okay.
have to have all the proper bills of lading and prove that how much they took there.
Thank you. And
Yes,
that
ma'am.
eases my mind because I'm thinking that's hazards.
Oh,
So-
it absolutely is. That's
So-
why it has to go to a landfill that's approved for that purpose.
Okay, thank you.
I do have to say this, it's wonderful to see a bipartisan effort that was begun in 2020, actually, taking shape. It was a bipartisan effort to get Congress to approve the funding to make these land acquisitions possible.
Yes.
And that was done early on. Great to see that happening. Also, the bipartisan process and getting our Force of Freedom grant that is going to provide funding for restoring this historic bridge.
Absolutely.
Once the asbestos is cleared and once we are able to begin the Force of Freedom project. So some great things are happening.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I will see y'all on the 10th.
Okay.
And I'll see you before then. We have an appointment to talk about July.
We look forward to it. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Bond.
you.
Thank you. We do not have Michael Walker here, but we have already covered all of that and we will look forward to having that that update next month. While we're on city business, I want to go ahead and bring up something that's in my report. But before we get too bogged down in the meeting, I want to go ahead and get this item out of the way because it's too important. I broke a tie a month ago for us to begin the search for a new police chief. But we haven't actually begun that search because of various discussions on how to go about it. So it is my understanding that the police committee met last week but failed to come to any satisfactory resolution on how to proceed and job description. We have since then, we have taken the job description for our police chief. We have gone through, there were a lot of typos, a lot of grammatical errors, things that were not proper. We worked to clean it up. We also ran this past our Civil Service Commission, and the chief of police sat down with the chairman, Dante Ware, to go over some of these qualifications. We also sent it to the Department of Public Safety. And we found out in so doing that, well, we were actually shown much appreciation for doing that, because it turns out the Department of Public Safety is encouraging police departments now to become more standardized in their job descriptions for police officers and police chiefs. And they have begun looking at these job descriptions. And so we submitted this job description to Amy Vanderford, who is the director of the Office of Standards and Training for the Department of Public Safety, Mississippi Department of Public Safety. Ms. Vanderford and I actually had a very lengthy conversation this morning. She said that the job description that we have provided here exceeds their minimum standards. She said because of the shortage of police officers and individuals also with proper years of experience, that they are starting to see that we have officers in the state of Mississippi who have a lot of common sense and can make good chiefs. And they are even beginning to encourage looking at all aspects of a person's background rather than just one item or two. She actually led me through a discussion of all kinds of things they're looking at now that go beyond just what's on paper, but to look at their communication skills, to look at their ability to be empathetic, to be good listeners, to be good leaders. Obviously, is quite a challenge to find that person who is well qualified for chief.
No.
And so the job description you have before you, we have, as I said, shared with the Department of Public Safety. We have shared it with our Civil Service Commission. Mr. Ware said, well, it really is up to the Board of Aldermen and the mayor what they want the job description to be. We can't advertise the position until we have agreed on a job description. And so you were all given this in your package Friday. I hope you've had time to look over it. Some of you have discussed it with me since receiving it on Friday, and we've had some good positive discussion. And so at this time, I'd like to have a motion to begin advertising effective tomorrow for a new police chief for the city of Natchez, utilizing this job description. A motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Maroney. Alderman Davis.
I've been a police officer 15 years, and actually, I did 15 years as a police officer. I talked to plenty. I started researching this on police chief on the surrounding areas of Mississippi and local, all the surrounding states and stuff. And to me, this dropping the standards for to be a chief. This dropping the standards. Plus, when we first did the old notice, I'm gonna go with this. Me, the police committee, we had a meeting. And I expressed my concern to Alderwoman Smith. And I told her about the standards as far as being a police officer. Hey, I guess my standards is higher than y'all. And I'm gonna just say that. Because I got standards and just dropping the bar to me.
So which area is dropping the bar?
No, I'm gonna tell you what, because I said 15 years certified police officer, a bachelor's degree, and at least 5 years of command leadership. That's all I wanted in there. You put it whatever else you wanted in there.
Our current chief does not have a bachelor's degree.
I can explain that to you. The reason why, because she was the interim chief, and that automatically pushed up into that
That's
position.
exactly right now.
No,
That what happened.
she was actually selected through a very fair process. There were 3 candidates.
I know.
And if you'll recall, she's the one who was chosen to be our chief.
And also,
through that process. I just want to make sure that
normally, she was the interim chief, that automatically pushed
That's
up the interview.
That's what it was.
But
That's what it was.
she did not become chief because she was interim. She became chief because she achieved the vote.
I didn't say
This
she,
board.
that's why she got the chance to
There
interview
were
for the
3
position.
candidates. Actually, that
And I was the only
opportunity to interview
I
was
was finished, man.
extended
Can I
to
finish
all
up?
4 commanders, if you'll recall.
You said 4 commanders.
We had 4 commanders at the time, and
It was 3.
It's in our minutes.
It's
Ben
3. We
Hewitt-
just created 4.
Ben
We just
Hewitt-
created 4.
Ben Hewitt did not want to
Yeah, only 3.
apply. Cal Green applied, Justin Jones applied, and Jerry Ford applied.
That's
Ben
3.
Hewitt, the 4th commander,
There's
chose
never been
not
4
to
commanders.
apply. Yes, we had 4. Ben Hewitt, Cal Green,
Oh yeah,
Justin
oh yeah.
Jones,
They created
and Ben Hewitt.
Okay, and then the 5th one.
We had,
they
You
created
got
the
the
5th
5th
one.
one.
no, we only had 4. But I'm sorry, Alderman, continue.
Put me off, huh?
No,
But
take your time.
that's the reason why she got the chance to interview. You keep talking about a degree. I'm not talking about no degree. It always been in Vexen knows about a degree as far as the police department. Because I'm concerned you need to have all of them way around it. And this to me, this wasn't in the announcement right here. Just like up under the minimum of 10 years. That just been thrown in there. Because I talked to plenty of police chiefs in the surrounding area all over. I've been doing this. I know what I'm talking. You say you talked to DPS. DPS, it's totally different.
Some are using 10, some are using 15.
Exactly.
I know this.
According to the Office of
But
Standards and
I'm telling
Training,
you from experience, 15 years experience and stuff.
this is satisfactory. I'm just having to say. The
To
Office
me,
of Standards-
to me, you drive the bar because you got somebody you want to put in.
And it could be said the
Plain and
other way too. Alderwoman Hall.
I'm finished.
I've also researched across municipalities in Mississippi, towns, villages, and what I've read in this job description, it fits what is stated across Mississippi in municipalities, towns, and villages. The only thing that's different, it says sometimes for the smaller villages, they may have 2 years of supervisory experience versus 3 to 5, or 10 years of experience, or 15 years of experience. But what I've read in this job description meets the standards across Mississippi's municipalities.
5 years. Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Hall. Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Well. Now let me get started. First and foremost, I'm gonna say this, and I'm just gonna say this. As Alderman Davis stated, they did have a meeting with the police committee. The chairperson, sitting to my left here, she was very nasty to them in the meeting. You have a meeting on last number 15 minutes, you can't agree on something is wrong. Okay, I didn't go to the meeting. I got this from the horse's mouth. Also, we can sit up here and talk about the police department. What Ben Davis is saying is exactly right. Now, the mayor, the process that y'all went through, and I hate to bring this back up, but I'm gonna give it to you again. The process that y'all did the first time with Cal Green was wrong. And I stated that I let y'all slide with that. Y'all been doing this stuff, putting these people in these positions underhanded, and it's been wrong. And I'm gonna say this: if we don't get the right police chief, and that's we're gonna be in bad shape. The department right now, the morale is low, very low, because we don't have any leadership around there. They're going back and forth. Now, like I say, and Ben was right. Cal came up there from the sheriff department. I'm gonna say it again. She came to the sheriff department. She came over and she was just nothing but a patrolman. And they put her in that position. Now, the commander rank started with Chief Willie Huff, because Willie Huff was police chief. We had four captains. And he didn't want assistant chief. So what he did, he said, well, I'm gonna make every last one of y'all commander. Now, like I say, the commander is not a civil service position. Now, either you're gonna be a captain, lieutenant, sergeant, or patrolman. You can't take a person from a patrolman position and promote them to chief of police or a captain, because he didn't go through the process. The process was done right. And this is what we are facing now. The process, you're putting too many people up, we're losing people because of lack of leadership. Now, the standards, and like this man, you say you talking to people, the standards, everybody got standards, the different standards. The standards that we had for all these many years, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with civil service? What's wrong with civil service? Like I say, look, we just can't sit here and talk about these standards and do the citizens of the nation a grave disservice. Because if we put in people in office who are not qualified to do the job, we are messing the whole city of Natchez up. And we don't have people out there that can do the job because a lack of leadership, and peoples are leaving every day from out there. Peoples are complaining to me about the police. They don't want to come to the mayor, or they don't want to come to the rest of the board, but they come to me because, hey, I know you know, man. As Alderman Davis said, 32 years. I worked at 32 years, and I hate to bring this up about 32 years because, like I say, we had a police department here. Now, like I say, these standards here, as Alderman Davis say, no, I don't care about you talking to lady in Jackson. Jackson is Jackson. Jackson got enough problems up there himself. So we don't, like I say, we got standards, and we had standards for years. Civil service was set up by Mayor Tony Burns in the 70s in order to protect the police and the firemen. Now, if we're going to get away from that, we may well get away from civil service because it's not right. We need to get a police chief who gonna be for the people and stand by the people. We don't get no police. I'm telling you, people. I'm telling the citizens. I ain't gonna tell them they gonna vote the way they want to vote. But I'm telling you, if we do this the wrong way, the police department gonna be messed up for the next 50 years. I'm through.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Okay, I want to reemphasize what has been stated. I do agree, the 15 years of law enforcement experience. And it's because, and also a degree. We want someone who has the ability to be able to carry out and the experience. That's what we want. We say 3 years, 5 years, administrative assistant. I've been on this board for 9 years now. And in my 9 years being here, I have watched. I've sit quietly, but I'm a watcher. I watch to see how things form and how the operation of the building take place. And Mayor, I must say, we've had some bad years. We were down to a very low number of police officers on the street protecting us. I'm grateful, truly grateful for those that remain with us. But when you kill a department, and all because of leadership means everything. That person, and I admire some of these things you have here. When you got, and this, by the way, is very redundant. When I look at qualifications, it's repeating the same thing over here with scope of responsibility and principal purpose of position. All this is repetitious, okay? And it really is. It's just worded different. I love the wording, but it's saying the same exact thing. But when it comes to leadership, you need that very best person. And I want to do a comparison here I've been on this board for 9 years, and we were looking for, and when I called the name of the person, she did a wonderful job for the city of Natchez. So I'm not taking anything away from that, but I just wanted you all to understand when it comes to hiring the most qualified person, I'm talking about the director of Visit Natchez, okay? And that was Ms. Jennifer Combs, or tourism. We wanted someone that had the experience and that we're going to be able to bring people here, even though we had other forms of advertising the city of Natchez. We wanted that person who was going to be able to draw people here and have that ability to communicate outside Natchez to get them here. She did an excellent job. She's a filmmaker. She was a producer. She was had a number of titles behind her. Excellent credentials. But we wanted the best. I can recall the committee coming to this board and saying, but we want the best. And not only do we want the best, we want to be able to pay them the best to keep them here. She served us well for 3 years. She served us well for 3 years. It goes from department to department. If that's what was needed at that time for Visit Natchez, then that is what is needed at this time so that we can bring our department up. I have been here 9 years and I've seen this department go through some transition, and it has not always been favorable. It's to the point that I didn't even want to go by. And I sit on the police committee because I'm hearing and I'm seeing, and I'm out watching things myself at night. So when you know what's going on, you know we don't have enough people out there. We got people committing crimes, and you can't be everywhere. I don't want to put all that out there, but I want to say this. We need to rethink the experience. We need to rethink the ability for that person. 15 years, why are we going to lower our standards? If we want it in Visit Natchez, if we want it in the fire department, if we want the best, then we have to maintain the standards. Our public works department, that's throughout the city of Natchez. That's the only exact way we are, until we get a hold on safety in this community, and that's the number one concern I have. But you got to bring somebody in here with the experience and the qualifications to get it done.
Yes. Thank you, Alderwoman.
But let me say this.
Yes.
I know you weren't interrupting me. You needed to speak with him because I wasn't finished.
I'm Alderwoman Irving, and then Alderman Maroney has not been recognized, and then I'll come back to Alderwoman Hall. Alderwoman Irving, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. And so this is what we need. We need someone with the experience and the number of years to do that so that they can pull these people together. It takes a special someone to come in with a plan. And Mr. Mayor, as I look through this, I want to say this too. Every chief has promised us in 100 days what they're going to do. They haven't been to this board and reported not one thing. We're going to have evaluations quarterly. They do a great grandstanding, okay? A great grandstanding, but they have not brought it here. We don't hear anything until there's a certain situation that arrives and it needs to be resolved by the board, okay? That's not how it goes. If you're going to keep the morale of the department up, you got to do what? Keep us informed, not when there's a problem.
If we could just stay on the qualification.
Well, okay, qualifications, but all that is a part of it, that job description there. All of that is to tell you what is going on. We got to do better with hiring people.
Alderman Maroney, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. I think these qualifications are pretty good. We might go from 10 to 15 years. I don't think that we need to require, and it doesn't require, it says preferred, but I don't think we need to require a full 4-year degree. I mean, there are lots of people out there that do not have a 4-year degree, myself included. There are thousands upon thousands of people in this country that have been enormously successful, are incredibly intelligent, and perfectly capable of all sorts of things without 4-year degrees. Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, Mark Zuckerberg, Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey. There are lots of people out there don't have 4-year degrees. I don't think that needs to be a requirement. There are plenty of smart people out there that do not have a 4-year degree, and I don't think that should be just a strict requirement. And it says here preferred, and I'm fine with that. I just don't think that that's required. Like I said, I don't have a 4-year degree, and I've been able to accomplish things and build things and think through things that, you couldn't even believe. So
one of our greatest presidents of this century, Harry Truman, only had a high school education.
Abraham Lincoln didn't have college degree.
I have to agree with you there. I will say this, when I talked to Ms. Vanderford today, she said that because of the shortage of officers across this country, that they are getting away from the education requirement. They do want education, but some office, you can look, Moss Point is advertising for police chief right now. And depending on your experience, they're willing to accept a high school diploma or GED alternative there. That's in the city of Moss Point. What we are saying here is, and there's a lot said. I would say we are saying that a bachelor's degree, is preferred. However, a combination of formal education and progressively responsible law enforcement experience may be considered in lieu of specific degree preferences when such experience includes substantial command level responsibilities, including completion of accredited advanced leadership training, for example, command college, executive leadership programs, or equivalent professional development. I think if we aren't careful, we're going to put ourselves in a corner where we're going to be very limited on qualified people to apply. I really do. Alderwoman Hall? Alderman Maroney, were you finished?
I did want to say,
I'm sorry.
I was talking about 4-year degree, but we do need someone that has had considerable training. I mean, professional training in law enforcement, in modern tactics, in the use of technology and all those types of things. I'm sure law enforcement has changed a lot over the last 40 years. And I think that we need to take into account, whatever applicants we get, that they have had extensive post bachelor or post college training since they've been police officers or whatever positions they've held in law enforcement. I'd like to see someone that has continued to get training, and continued to advance their law enforcement education, and not just on the street training. That's important as well, but I'd like to see someone that has extensive continued education throughout their years in law enforcement.
Thank you. Alderwoman Hall?
I think this entire conversation has gotten off on the wrong direction tonight. We are not here to denigrate the character of Chief Caroline Green.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this has been a travesty
Thank you.
and an abomination, the way this entire discussion has led into her character and her leadership.
Thank you so much. I was going to say it when I got an opportunity, and I'm glad you said it. Thank you, Alderwoman Hall. Caroline Green has served this city over 28 years, approaching 29 years, and she is a woman of great integrity, great ability, and it's interesting that her education level was suitable to individuals on this board just 4 years ago, and now they find those education levels not suitable today. I don't understand that. Why someone would approve of someone 4 years ago with an associate's degree and all these years of experience, but all of the other experience, and now they would say that, well, that person would not be qualified today. I'll be forever grateful that Chief Green was our police chief for the years in which he served. Alderwoman Smith, you're recognized.
I just want to clarify reputation as well, since Alderman Frazier wasn't at the meeting.
Exactly.
Alderwoman Irving can clarify that, no, I was not rude to anybody. And you, as she said, we're just going to agree to disagree. And it was a very calm meeting.
Okay. Thank you, thank you.
Going to order,
Alderman Davis, you're
Point of order,
recognized. I'm sorry, Alderman Davis, then I'll come to you, Alderman Frazier. Yes.
My just last thing was that good leaders don't have to have a four-year degree. A four-year degree person can be a great leader. Sometimes they're not great leaders. It just really depends on so much on personality and training. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Davis.
Yeah, I'm stuck on that 4-year degree. I say at least 5 years of command leadership. They need at least 5 years of command leadership. That's one of the things I was talking about. You ain't talking about the 5 years of command leadership, nothing like that. I think they need that because somebody with just 3 years, that they just if you don't know if you're a police, 3 years ain't enough in command leadership. You need at least 5. You be seasoned. And so that's what I want, at least 5 years of command leadership.
Okay.
And then, but you know,
Mr. Mayor, I want to comment one other time.
I'm sorry.
I wasn't finished though.
We're about to be to the point, we just need to call a question. I think
Mr. Mayor,
everybody will make their
okay,
decision.
Mr. Mayor, I have.
I promise Alderman Frazier I'll come to him next. Then I'll come to you, Alderwoman
Let me
Irving.
say this right quick.
I'm very sorry, Alderwoman Irving interrupted you. I thought you were finished. Alderman Davis, you still have the floor.
And when Alderman Verona talking about advanced training, all the police officers, they get advanced training every year.
I would hope
It's mandatory for them to get all this training. And a lot of people, you probably don't see their training, they ain't showing it, but they get all of them getting the same training. They have to get this training. And that's it. You know,
Thank you, Alderman. Thank you,
as far
Alderman
as the training,
Davis.
they getting it.
Thank you. Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Let me get some clarifications on this. First, I want to say about Chief Green. I did not, if the last board meeting, I stated, and I'm going to say it again, she did the best she did with what she had. I did not go to integrity or anything like that. She was left with a department that was in shambles. So I'm not, like I say, for what she did, I give her props, but she didn't have anything to work with. And let the record show, and it's me. I did not vote for Carol Green to be chief of police, but I supported her when she was in that position. I did not try to do everything I did. I worked with Carol Green. You can look at the record. Every time she brought something up here, Billy Joe Frazier voted with her because she was put in that position and she was the chief of police. I would not dare turn my back on a woman of that standard who held herself that high for me to turn my back on. No, Billy Joe didn't do that. Second of all, I did not vote for Chief Daughtry to come in here. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not a black and white thing. And I didn't care what color you are. But if you're not capable of performing the job for the citizens of Natchez, I'm not going to vote for you. Now, I don't care who out there don't like it. That's just me. We need a decent police chief with some high standards. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Alderman Frazier. The question has been called.
Yes.
Oh, and I did, I want to just go back and just reiterate that again. We need someone with the experience, and education matters. Education matters. When you get those prerequisites, for instance, in criminal justice, it gives you all that background information. For someone who doesn't have it, it's a horse of a different color. You're getting 12 weeks of training. And I can recall in larger cities at NLC going into public safety meetings, education training does matter. Every opportunity you get, even local training matters when they can partner with our sheriff department when they have training. And we possibly do that now. But training is something that never stops because society changed, laws change. So they have to be abreast of all of that. But background information in law, that helps. This man going to school to be an attorney, and he's going to use that law background, and it's going to help him. So it's what's needed. You didn't get the law school because you didn't have the degree.
The question has been called. I think everyone's been heard. I've tried to exercise patience. I do believe there's a consensus that we increase the minimum of law enforcement experience from 10 years to 15.
Okay.
Is that
Yes.
acceptable? I think to those
And 5
who made
years
the motion,
administrative.
is that fine? All right. So let me show that the motion has
In
been
5
amended
years.
to include 15. Yes. And I don't think I've got consensus on that.
Well,
Alderman
on the
Davis.
5 years.
So the motion now stands to, as to begin advertising, effective tomorrow, utilizing the job description. And we have made the amendment to have a minimum of 15 years law enforcement experience. We will now proceed to a vote.
And Mr. Mayor,
I'm sorry.
you said 15 years of law experience, but you didn't finish reading. It said in including at least 3 years in
Yes.
administrative, and that's what he was asking for the 5 years.
I don't believe I have a consensus to go to 5 years. The author of the motion, most are doing 3. Yeah. All right.
Leadership.
We now are voting. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Fraser.
Nay.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Nay.
Alderman Maroney. The ayes have it. Motion.
Let me revert that. I'm gonna revert
Okay.
my vote. I'm gonna rescind my vote.
Okay.
It's nay.
Nay, okay. So we'd have a tie. We have a tie, and so I will break the tie in the affirmative so that we can move forward with selecting a police chief. Chief Green asked us a month ago to begin this process as soon as possible. She's being kind to work with us through this process. We can't delay this any further. I also want to state this. I mentioned a moment ago, one of our greatest presidents, Harry Truman, high school education. But may I also remind you of this? We talk about top level experience. He had only been vice president less than 90 days when he assumed the presidency during World War II. Many of our presidents are elected without any top level experience other than being a United States senator, possibly, or others. The person's either the leader or they're not the leader. And we will determine that when we go through the interview process. I don't want to tie our hands behind the back when we need to be making the best decision we can for Natchez.
Mr. Mayor,
Thank you so much.
I would like to
Yes,
just say one thing.
Alderman.
I would hope this would be the last time, the first and only and last time that any person who works for the city of Natchez has had their name dragged through the mud in an open meeting, nor in an executive session meeting. It is,
Thank you.
again, a travesty, and you're setting yourself up for legal ramifications.
Thank you so much. We now will return to the regular meeting, regular order of the meeting.
I see what I
Mr.
said,
Johnston,
and I
you're
didn't have anything
recognized.
negative to say. And I don't revert my words back. I said nothing negative. Always
Good
be
evening.
respectful, because that's my character.
I'll be brief.
Be brief, James.
I did provide y'all with the draft report the other day, though I have added a couple items at the end, which can be seen on the
As
view screen.
always.
Removal of stone threads and repair to inlay terrazzo at the city auditorium. Quote bids have been received January 27th. We did receive 2 bids. They are summarized on the spreadsheet. Staff in concert with Wakecaster Duncan is requesting a motion to accept the bid of Hope Enterprise LLC totaling $45,000, $15,000 to replace the 2 broken stone threads, and $30,000 to repair the inlay terrazzo. Pleasure of the board.
What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Maroney.
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion? Yes,
Yeah.
Alderwoman.
I don't have any opposition with that. I just have a question.
Yes.
They did have another project. Did they complete that other project on, was it Commerce Street, downtown? Hope. They had another project, so I was just asking because.
Their last project with us on Commerce Street was doing the, I'll say caulking. I forget the term.
Okay, so that's been completed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's all I
Yes, ma'am.
needed to ask.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicates saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Natchez Senior Citizen Center renovation, selection of professional services, 2026 CDBG-PF application. Staff, at the request of Lynette Smith and Alan Laird of the PDD, has requested that a committee be established to review the proposals for architectural services for this project. A motion is being requested to appoint Alderman Curtis Maroney, Ms. Carla Moore, Mr. Earl Hill, Mr. Jody Rudder, and myself to this committee.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall. Second. Seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. Next item, Mr. Johnson.
Museum of the Streets, America 250 Mississippi Humanities Council. Staff, in concert with the Historic Natchez Foundation, is requesting a motion to accept the just received grant award from the Humanities Council totaling $15,000, $35,000 total budget to repair and replace the worst of the museum panels located in historic downtown. Noting that the 2026 Tricentennial Museum of the Streets has been a popular attraction for both residents and tourists alike. This grant period is from March 2nd through December 31st.
What's the pleasure, board? Alderwoman Hall has made the motion,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion. I'm very excited about this grant. Definitely going to be a positive step forward for Natchez. We will call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Here is why I have added a couple of items. Staff is also requesting a motion to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Historic Natchez Foundation to provide day-to-day management of this project, including coordination and contracting with the with the graphic artist, Mississippi Humanities Council, and staff. The Historic Natchez fee totals $13,000, of up to which $9,000 will be paid to the graphic artist to design new panels, updates, and/or edits.
What was the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Maroney, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next item.
Designation of authorized organization representative. Mr. Dollar, Public Works Superintendent, is requesting a motion to designate Ms. Madeline Tetlow as the City of Natchez applicant agent representative to serve as the city's primary point of contact to coordinate with NEMA and FEMA for submission of needed documents as it pertains to the recent winter storm, DR 4899 MS, and future disaster declarations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston. Have a great evening. Ms. Monroe, you are now recognized.
Good evening, Mayor and
Good
Board.
evening.
Good evening.
I'm here on today to request permission for Mr. Roy Hill and myself to attend the 2026 Annual MAPDD Conference on April the 21st through the 24th. It will be at the Beau Rivage Resort in Biloxi,
So moved.
Mississippi.
Second.
A motion has been made. I'm sorry, who made the motion? Alderman Davis, and seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Monroe.
I'm
Next
also-
item.
Yes, the second item, I'm requesting permission to purchase program software through StoryCare for the Natchez Senior Center. I've been looking forward to this when I went to Chicago. We did, I felt this was the best software to offer. A lot of the different agencies were using this software. And I'm requesting permission to purchase this. I know we have some reserve funding, and I would like to use that toward purchasing the software with PDD monies as well as Medicaid monies.
So moved.
Okay, I don't believe we've had any discussion on this, Ms. Monroe. I do have a motion by Alderman Davis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alderwoman Irving.
But we,
So what is the total cost
Yeah.
to the city going to be?
Well, starting off, if we go ahead and pay the total sum, it would be $14,400, and that includes the startup fee of $3,000. And then from that point, a year, it would be around $12,000.
Mr. Mayor.
And what will it, Alderwoman Hall is asking to be recognized. Alderwoman Hall.
When you say reserve funding, is that in your budget? Or you
Well,
talking
it's funds that we can only use for program services, and I know that those funds are available. I wanted to have that number available tonight, but
about- Is it in your
In your
budget?
budget.
It
your
is.
Is it-
reserve
yes,
funds in your
yes, yes, ma'am.
I
For the
want to make this comment. I would
Okay.
rather, our city clerk has been ill.
Okay,
We have so many needs at the senior center right now, and we're struggling within our budget to meet those needs. And before we act on this, I would really like to be able to look at those numbers, those budget figures in more detail,
yes.
because 14,000 here, there, it all adds up. And we are, as everyone knows, we are trying to tighten our budget this year. The citizens of Natchez have been hit with some exorbitant tax appraisals that I think are too high. And I believe we are going to have to prepare to look at our budgets very seriously going forward into next year, because we just can't continue, spending so much money. Now, I know some of your funds come from grants, and that's good. We'll look at that. But if we could have some time to just take a look at this and discuss it more with the city clerk when she returns, I would really appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I'm not saying I'm against it,
Right.
but I need to have more information on this.
Yes.
It will help with Medicaid, keeping up with the the Medicaid policies and standards, as well as with the PDD standards for providing the services
Yes.
and the files for the participant. It would do a whole lot. It would benefit
Okay.
the senior center.
This one kind of snuck past me. We've been so busy, I know, and it was put on the agenda, I guess Friday, and I just haven't given it a whole lot of thought. So thank you. I would like to ask that we just hold this for the next meeting until we can have
I just
some.
want
Is
to
that-
ask you one question.
Alderman Davis? Yes, Alderman Davis.
You say the money come from Medicaid and PDD?
Yes, those
That would-
funds.
That was the
But
funds.
she
come?
also said in her reserves. I would just like a little
Yes.
more time to look
I
at it. Alderman Davis, if you would just withdraw your motion and let's bring it back in the next meeting
Okay,
after we can have some discussion.
I would go.
Thank you, Alderman Davis. Thank you. Alderwoman Irving?
I was just gonna ask, could you provide each of us a copy so that we can see where the funding is coming from?
Yes.
Okay.
That
Yes,
would
I
be
will-
good.
I will
Thank
get
you,
it with-
Alderwoman Irving.
Yes.
Ms. Monroe,
City
thank
clerk.
you.
Okay, I did have
I
one
didn't,
more
One more.
request.
Alderman Maroney, I am so sorry.
I just wanted to ask, what does this software do? I don't know what it does.
It does a lot because of the policies and procedures that are changing and all the cuts that are coming forth. You're required to make sure that you meet the standards for all your program services. And so I have to make sure that when they come in and monitor me, everything's accordingly.
So it's
also-
administrative management. It's
Yes.
helping you keep your T's crossed and your
Yes.
I's dotted and that sort of thing.
As well as also report for distribution of funding and all those types of things that would make it more efficient. And that's why we're trying to get to a point that I don't spend all day trying to review reports over and over because they're manually. And I feel that this will set us up for the future, where whoever, come behind me, they will have a good grasp because they don't have to do all the manual work that I have done over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you. One thing I would like to know is there a competing firm that could offer this service cheaper?
There are other firms.
I would like to see that it
yes.
was shopped and we looked at
I did.
possibly cheaper.
Yes, sir.
And we can look at that when we.
Okay. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Alderwoman Smith.
Yeah, may I request the brochures that we could each have so we can study up on it? We have a little history in the city of software.
It's in our package.
Well, I have the contract, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
a brochure.
No,
That's why I
it's not a
asked my
brochure, but
Yeah.
I will speak
Just
with
to
them
get
on
more
tomorrow.
information.
Yeah, the contract
Yes.
doesn't explain what it is.
Thank you.
Okay, I will.
Thank you, Ms. Monroe.
I
Thank you so
do
much.
have one other request.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we have, funding through other sources, I try to stay present and make sure that I get to go to different places, meet them, talk to them, let them know that I'm there. So I'm here also to ask for a request to attend the 2026 MPTA Rodale. It's going to be in Starksville, Mississippi on March the 13th through the 15th. I would like to attend that. There is a RTAP grant award that I can apply for at least up to half of the funding that they will reimburse if you all allow me to
And
attend.
explain the organization. This is.
Well, it's for training.
Natchez Transit run that.
Natchez Transit does run it, but I go for training on that Friday. Then they'll have the drivers to do different tests, and they'll have us assisting in some type of capacity with that on Saturday. So I was asked on today, so that's why I wasn't in your packet to attend.
All right. Do we know what the cost of attending this would be?
Well,
Because we have a policy where we need to know upfront what.
I did give you a copy of this, and it has the pricing on
This
there.
is right here.
Yes, it is. And what they
Okay.
will allow
I see
is,
it. Thank you. All right. And listen, I recognize that our transit program and our senior center work hand in hand. I see no problem with this.
Absolutely
I would
none.
ask for a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving,
Second.
seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
None.
We'll call for the question.
Call.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. The next item, we will now ask Mr. Porter to come forward. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Aldermen and women. Basically, staff is just requesting approval to travel to the MRPA conference in Biloxi on March 2nd through 4th. Our team has been competitively selected to present Leveling the Playing Field, Building Fair and Transparent All-Star Systems. This is a huge honor to us since we're only in our third year of youth sports programming and to gain this recognition. The session highlights our department's innovative approach to youth sports equity and positions Natchez Parks and Recreation as a state leader in recreational programming. Attendance will allow myself and Dylan Butler to gain CUs and bring back best practices moving forward. In addition, we are very cognizant of our budgetary restraints, so we have negotiated or worked with our partnering software company to purchase our admission to conference, if you will, in return for setting their booth up in the vendor hall.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And we're also very willing and able to stay with friends and family. So it's only going to cost mileage and per diem, maybe not even mileage.
That's really great. Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Alderwoman Smith has seconded that motion. We'll have discussion.
I just want to ask, I'm in all agreement with you going to the conference, no problem with that. I just want to ask, since you have such a small staff, who's going to take care of?
A lot going on right now.
Right.
If you've been through Duncan Park lately, we're making renovations to the baseball field, trying to expand our skins. It's the dirt part of the field to accommodate 70-foot bases for our 11 and 12-year-old league. Thanks to Mr. Wyatt Craig and his crew at Sports Center, they are donating countless man hours and resources to make that happen. So I feel very confident in their crew to proceed with this, and we will be back on Wednesday evening to finish that. And while I'm here and thanking some of the heroes that have stepped up to plate for youth baseball, I want to recognize Southwest Mississippi Electric Power Association for donating 2 55-foot poles. I don't know if you guys have purchased any 55-foot poles lately, but they're about $2,200 a piece.
Wow.
We're also working with one of our coaches, Caleb Cross, who is a professional lineman that works with a company, I forget the name. They do subcontract work out of for Entergy New Orleans. He has negotiated a deal with them that he can bring their trucks home on the weekends to help set the poles and rewire the fixtures. The 3 fixtures that we lost, I just got back from St. Francisville today, and West Feliciana Parks and Recreation Department has helped us with some new to us LED fixtures that will go in there.
That's great. Thank you. That's really great. We'll now call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you.
They all need to be
Thank you,
changed
Mr. Taylor.
eventually, sooner than later. And also want to take this opportunity to remind you that baseball registration is closing this Friday with an in-person registration event at Sports Center from 9 to 11. We'll be set up out front. You can't miss us.
All right.
This is ages 3 through 12. Link to the registration. You can go to natchezparks.com. That's NATCHEZPARKS.com, or you can scan this QR code. Or follow us on Natchez Parks and Recreation
This is
Facebook.
the first year we're having the 11, 12-year-olds. They've been.
We've had an 11U prior. Last year we did 9, 10, and 11 combined, and we're splitting those into 2 different leagues.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's all I have. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Tingle, our city planner.
Good evening, Mayor and Board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We have just one item tonight. Steve Campo, who has served on the Preservation Commission for 3 years, has stepped down, and he is relocated out of town. And so we are now requesting to advertise for vacant position on the Preservation Commission.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Tingle. Chief Arrington, you are now recognized.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I just want to request permission to try for travel for 4 employees that will be going to the Fire Academy next month. 3 of them will be starting on March 2nd, and then another one will be starting on March 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Want to say great job, Chief.
Chief Arrington, if you would, please call my office in the morning and get the date of that graduation on the calendar.
Yes, sir.
We're so proud of our firefighters. And Chief Arrington, we've had some real challenges the last few weeks. And with the wind and the fire you had over the weekend, we just thank our firefighters for all they do. Thank you.
We'll be working with the county to try to mitigate some of those things.
Yes, thank you. Alderwoman Hall, you're now recognized.
To be short, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you.
I would ask that we end our meeting tonight in silence for several people who have recently died. For the repose of the soul of Miss Tracy Jackson, who was a niece of our City Hall receptionist, Mrs. Jeannie Johnson. For the repose of the soul of Mrs. Jessie B. Whitley, who is the grandmother of our deputy clerk, the clerk's office, Tiffany Howard. And for the repose of the souls of Mrs. Joyce Wood Trask and her husband, who also died, Mr. Ernest Trask, who are the sister-in-law and brother-in-law of our Mr. Robert Morgan. So I ask that we end our meeting in silence in memory of all of these deceased individuals.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yes, Alderwoman Smith. Okay.
And I-
Request to add Jimmy Lou.
And Miss Dorothy Sanders. Miss Dorothy Sanders died.
Mhm.
So, yes.
Mhm.
In memory of her.
Oh, and we have Jimmy Lou Vassar.
I had a few names written down as well, and it was all those with the exception of Miss and Mrs. Trask, but Miss Betty Jean
Mr. Mayor, that
Matthews,
concludes my
she
report.
was
Thank you, Alderwoman Hall.
add that name there, Miss Betty Jean Matthews, and I had Miss Sanders and Wayne Dobbins and Ford Gordon.
Goodness.
Mhm.
Are you getting all of these, Madam
What was that
Clerk?
very last one you said?
Ford Gordon.
Gordon, okay.
Mhm.
Thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you, Alderwoman Hall. Alderman Frazier, your report.
Yes, let me just say this right quick. At one time or another on this board, I used to get mad when the vote go wrong. But I learned one thing and I found out, sometimes you just got to start respecting people. Everybody on this board got to vote. I don't care which way you vote. If you vote wrong or right, that's your prerogative. So therefore, as board member, I think, me, I'm gonna try to get along with everybody now because I'm not gonna let y'all upset me by the way you vote. So I'm just saying, I just can't do it no more. I respect everybody up here. And like I say, sometimes we get in the heat of argument, but that's just me. But that still respect goes a long way.
Thank you.
I want to say to Ms. Carla Monroe, thank you, ma'am. You had an excellent Black History program. It turned out beautiful. As a matter of fact, I told Carla, I said, I started to play the plate right because I thought they were having church service up here. I mean, those elderly ladies and gentlemen, they can sing. They can. I mean, they sung some church songs. I thought, I said, well, I looked around. I said, I'm having a good time up here. But like I said, Carl, thank you for the Black History program. And I know you said it was the last minute. You didn't get out to everybody, but it was a wonderful program. Last but not least, I also attended the Bright Star Ball in Vidalia. That is the ball over in Vidalia. They're dealing with mental challenged kids from all the area. I mean, it was, ladies and gentlemen, yes, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Everyone in the sound of my voice, you should go to one of those Bright Star balls. I mean, it'll just change your whole complexity on dealing with mental challenged children who have problems. And just to see that expression on these kids' face, hey, it's a joy. It's a joy. And,
But also the physically.
Mentally and physically. And you'll be surprised how many kids that around this area that have a problem. But they're so loving. Like I say, you just want to reach out. These kids, they'll walk up to you and hug you and say, "What did they do? What's your name?" You tell me your name. They say, "Oh, okay. It's good to see you." They came in wheelchair, crutches. They came in there and people was clapping. Those people in Vidalia, they do one hell of a job.
Our special ed department started that.
But I was saying, but everybody said, why can't they get it on this side of the bridge? I said, I don't know. But over there, it's the kids from all this area, but it was a great ball.
But
like I said,
really, they are young adults.
Some of them. Yes.
Most of them are young adults.
They young adults. She's right.
High school students.
They're young adults, and some of them, because I know from experience, because I have a grandson who's autistic, but he's just like his granddaddy. He like a clown. And
Keeman has charisma, like his granddaddy. Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Thank you.
At the end of our report.
Thank you so much. Alderwoman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, we might not agree on everything, but we agree on this one. That is the best event in our area. I didn't go this year, but I have been before, and it is amazing. And I know Melissa Bond, who's from that, lives in Natchez, and Lonnie Calhoun are very instrumental.
He good.
And I think they had the idea of the ball, so I'm very, very grateful for them. It's a beautiful event.
Well, let's give credit. Actually, it was the Special Populations Department, along with Lonnie Calhoun in Vidalia, that started that.
Wow.
Well, good.
So Mary Hume, the Director of Special Populations.
Well, it is definitely a wonderful thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Alderwoman Irving.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to begin with just acknowledging a few things that's taking place. To begin with, recognizing the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. I just want to thank him for helping make this world a better place for me, my family, many others, and for generations to come. Your work opened doors that many of us walk through every day. It's an honor. It's on us to honor your legacy, continue the progress, and
and move this country forward by keeping hope alive. That's in honor of the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. I also want to ask Mayor to make a request that we lower our flags in honor of him until after the services. He will be, the term, he will be recognized in South Carolina, his hometown. He will be recognized in DC and then back to Chicago. And so I just want to ask, could we lower our flags, half staff, until after the services of Reverend Jesse Jackson? And I thank you.
We certainly can.
Rest in peace, rest in power. I also want to say I received a call from Mrs. Moore, concerning Daisy Street. She's the owner of Daisy Street Grocery Store, and she's requesting to meet with the police committee if all possible. Okay, so I wanted to bring that to the other members, the chairperson and the other committee member, that we meet in reference to her. If you want to inquire more about the issue, then we can speak on that also. I also want to say that, and no one's here tonight, but Mr. Mayor, you can probably pass this on if you will. There's some limbs, I know, and it seems like it's in an area where we have some amount senior people living that is not looking to say, pick up the phone and call and report them. But there are two locations on Armstrong Street. There's two. One is, it's right at the corner, almost to the corner. I didn't get a number, but I pass through it every day leaving Duncan Park, coming through there. There's 2 piles of limbs there. They have them to the curb.
Yeah.
They just need to be picked up.
We have been reporting limbs every day.
Okay.
We need the address.
You need the
of public
physical,
works. We really
but they
do.
could see them right there on Armstrong. As soon,
I mean, we can try to send them over there directionally. They have told me time that
they need the physical address.
But where is the actual location?
Armstrong. It's right up. Is that Radcliffe Street coming from Duncan Park when you make the left coming out of?
I'm just looking it up.
Okay.
Okay.
But it is Armstrong. It's a little short street down in the curve.
Yeah.
When I'm leaving, it's making a right coming out of Duncan Park. And then I come down, it's in the, makes a U.
Okay.
It makes a U, you come, L, and it come on down. And it's 2 piles right there on Armstrong Street.
If you're going toward Duncan Park, it's the first left. When
Yes.
You leave Homerton to the street.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. There's some at 39 Purnell Hill. And I do have that address, 39 Purnell Hill. 68 East Oak Street. It's in the alley. Those limbs are there, and I was thinking, it's falling out of a tree and someone placed them there, getting them out of the street, but they do need to be removed because if there's a fire, anything take place, we need access to enter that alley. So it's blocked with those trees. I also want to inquire, I think it's on Itasca. Someone has placed all those limbs there from cutting off that property. Are you aware of that?
No.
Is that in your ward, Itasca?
Yeah.
Okay, it's right there, and I think that's Roselawn coming down from the transit. So you have a pile that's there, and now those they're not completely in the street, but you do have to go over further out of your lane on that side.
They've got them out in the street on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
On that side. Now on the Itasca side, they're not, but they're piled there.
Ms. Urban, Mr. Stewart doesn't mind if you call him and tell him where these areas are, and he'll make note of it.
But the public needs to know, and that's why I'm putting it out here so that they can continue to, because most times they don't know. And I tell them we do Facebook. Everybody just not technology. But I do know, I do what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. I will make the call.
I'll get these reported.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see what else is there. Okay, and I want to thank the police department, Chief Carol Green, Commander Lee Best, Commander Justin Jones, and Commander Jerry Ford. They came out to the police, out to our neighborhood watch meeting, and I just want to say that the meeting was truly a success. The conversation
was the issues that members of the community had were addressed by the Natchez PD. They carried out a great job, very professional. And I also want to say that I've received calls since our meeting saying that the visibility of them patrolling our area has increased as well. So I just want to thank them. And again, thank all of our first responders for all that they do to keep us safe here in the city of Natchez. And Mr. Mayor, that ends my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderwoman.
You're welcome.
Alderman Davis.
I just want to tell Mr. Fraser, that was well said, what you said about everybody got their own decision up here. It's a vote, and once they make their vote, it's over with for me.
That's it.
And I don't hold grudges or nothing, but he said, Mr. Fraser, you're a changed man up here now. I remember when you first started. Yeah, but I met last week with about 25 members. We're getting ready to start disabled veterans organization here in Natchez, and we're going through it's a 90-day process that I'm doing, and we're accepting members. They accept members for the disabled veterans organization. And in case you didn't know, the DAV they got about 24 million members, and they actually they fight for a lot of rights for the veterans and stuff like that. They got lobbyists, lawyers, and everything. The more the membership, the more representation you have up in DC, and that ends my report.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Davis.
Give us a flyer so that way you can.
And if you need my help in any way, let me know.
All
And
right.
I tell you, we support our veterans.
Absolutely.
Alderman Maroney?
I also want to say thank you, Billy Joe. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I always love running into Billy Joe at Walmart. That's where we always seem to see each other at. We see each other at Walmart all the time. I guess we shop at the same time. One thing, Meridian Waste, they are still collecting limbs. I did see them coming through that neighborhood yesterday. I don't know where they missed that one. But they are, I've had a number of people ask me about that, and I've seen the Knucklebone Meridian Waste truck running around town this week, still loaded down with limbs. So they are still out there picking stuff up. I had somebody text me about it just as I came into the meeting a little while ago. So yeah, folks still waiting. They are working. They're coming around. There's just there's only the one truck, and they're getting it. So they'll get to it. Robert, you're talking about fires and stuff. I did not burn anything this weekend in that wind, and I did get into that once upon a time where I let one of those fires get away from me. It was the scariest, most terrifying experience I've ever been through in my life. So if you have any doubt, don't burn it. Wait till next weekend. Burn it next weekend. Please take that to heart if it's windy out there. Ryan, I don't know if Ryan's still here. They've been doing a great job out at Duncan Park. I was out there yesterday, and I talked for a while. Wyatt Craig and Justin Dollar were both out on Carroll Jones Field where they've been doing so much work. We talked about a lot of stuff, including the light poles. I was glad to hear that Ryan has secured a couple of light poles. That's great. We are going to have to be prepared to get all those old light poles replaced on those baseball fields in the next couple of years. We're going to have to look at that in that budget next year. Ryan had asked us about that once before. We just didn't have the money, but we're going to have to see if we can't get that done next year. But many thanks to Wyatt Craig and Sports Center. They are doing a lot of work. He's paying the people for doing it. He's paying for the equipment to get it done. That's being done with private funding, and it's a great help to the baseball program in the city of Natchez and Duncan Park. I want to give a shout out to Hope Construction. We had a pre-construction meeting Wednesday on the mountain bike trail project at Duncan Park. We were talking about, he was asking when he could start, and Ryan from Waycaster Duncan, so I don't see any reason why we couldn't get you, let you start next Monday. And I said, let him start tomorrow if he wants to. And darn if they didn't start Thursday morning on those mountain bike trails at Duncan Park. And I went out there Thursday afternoon, and I was astounded and how much work they had done. And I went back out Friday, went back out Saturday, went back out Sunday, and it is amazing what they've done. They've got the whole thing cleared out. I think we're going to end up with more distance on those trails than it was in the design. They're getting real creative with it. They're working really hard. He's got a big crew out there, and they're doing some nice work. I think we're going to be proud of what we have out there. They still have, there's a lot of tidying up going to need to be done, but they are getting after it. You know, we had a 120-day window on that project. They'll be done in 30, easy. I think it's looking really good. So anyway, I wanted to give a shout out to Hope Construction and Brent Goday and his crew. They're doing a nice job out there. So that ends my report. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. I've got Alderwoman Irving, and then I'll come to you, Alderwoman Hall.
I just want to recognize this information was given to me, and I want to ask that everyone receive a copy of what, and it's titled, "What is Community Policing?" And it's just some information for knowledge to share. Did everyone receive a copy of this? Okay, just want to be sure I have a few extras here. Okay, that ends, that's all I wanted to do, just be aware. Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, Alderwoman Hall.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I forgot to my report. Mr. Porter has now gone into the schools with disc golf. The disc golf has an educational component to it. And the tournaments that they have had over the last few years, some of that money has gone into purchasing disc baskets for North Natchez Park. And I think they're going to get 6 or 9 to be placed at North Natchez Park. But also he has gone now into the school system and educating the youth on disc golf.
That's wonderful. It really is. Thank you, Alderwoman. We now will go to our city clerk's report. Madam Clerk.
I'd like to request approval for the second claims docket of February 2026.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Second. So
Alderman Smith has made the motion. Alderman Davis has seconded that motion. Do we have any discussion?
Call the question.
The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item.
Request approval for the second mini claims docket of February 2026.
So moved.
The motion has been made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman.
I'm
Irving.
just looking here. It does not have a total. This is a legal binding document, so that opens up, you could add 2 still. When it's total, then that's just what it is. So that's been omitted on the mini docket.
Yes, let's make sure we add the total.
Total. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Irving. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next item, we have, and thank you, Madam Clerk. Our next item, we have our city attorney's report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the city attorney is asking for approval of the board to enter into an extension on the option to sell the city-owned property at 314 Highway 61 North to Horn Development Group. This is just an extension of the already existing option.
It's a 1-year extension.
1 year, that's correct.
1-year extension. They're working very hard. Some great things are happening there, but it takes time. Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Alderwoman Smith has seconded that motion. Discussion. We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Mr. Attorney.
We're requesting approval to allow filming on city-owned property. You have the information in your packet. It's several locations throughout the city. We've reviewed the contract. It's a good contract. There is no fee for this, and the city is being held harmless from any liability. So we're asking that the board approve the release agreement with the filming company. It's called Debutante's Gown Production LLC.
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderman Davis, thank you. All in favor of the motion, or do we have a discussion?
I did. I just wanted
Yes,
to ask.
Alderwoman Irving.
And more than likely, this has been taken care of, but I just want to ask, in the past, we've had, and I see the locations here, nothing affects school or any of that, but in the past, we've had backup traffic. So will they make the Natchez Police Department aware in advance so that they can do what? Reroute others in our area, because 911 and other, people have to get from one area to the next. So that's
Yes.
my question for asking.
We'll make sure that is discussed with them. They have been working with the attorney and also with Richard Burke on this.
Yes.
And I believe Vern Sharp is involved in this.
David Sharp.
David Sharp.
That's correct.
And it is an independent filmmaker. And it's a very interesting plot, interesting movie, total fiction. I think there's a bit of a thriller component to it. So, yes, it has to do with a haunted gown.
I read that. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. It's like, I can tell you just a little bit. I've been told. Yeah, I don't want my wife to ever have a haunted gown. I just say that. We'll call for the question. We'll, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Yes, Alderman Fraser.
Let me read this right quick.
Yes, sir.
I guess it's all in our package. Say, celebrating Black History, honoring the 6 boys who attended the Steve Harvey Mentorship Camp Saturday, February the 28th at 3 p.m. with Natchez City Art and Church, 207 Jefferson Street. Come support these boys who made history. It isn't where you came from, it's where you're going that counts. Sponsored by the Seed of Change Resources Foundation.
Yes.
I think we're that one.
Thank you. And Dr. Tracy Cook, the president of Alcorn, will be the featured speaker. And Dr. Carolyn Myers has worked very hard on that event. I'm glad you mentioned that, Alderman Fraser.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Alderwoman Irving.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm observing, leaving out very early in the morning, and so I just want to ask, 18-wheelers that are coming over the bridge here,
Yes.
that we are saying that you cannot.
No.
And I've witnessed this.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, we're talking the long trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know the weight of it, but
The
it's,
18-wheelers are not supposed to be using that bridge.
and I see the sign up there. I
Yes.
see several. You got
No
one
truck
here,
signs,
you got
yes.
one up top here that says they should be turning on Braille Avenue. And so I just thought I would report that
Thank you.
because we're
Yes.
1 year already in this contract that we're in, and you're violating. When they ask you to turn, you just should turn, but they're not. And
Thank
they're
you.
going straight to Vidalia, where I'm going to Louisiana.
Okay, I'm glad you have reported that. And it's what hours in the morning?
6:30.
6:30?
6:30, 7 o'clock. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. All right. Well, you're down to my report, and we've taken care of most of mine. I do want to say this. I'm very grateful to have been invited to attend the DRA Workforce Development Conference in Memphis, taking place February 26th or the 28th. It actually is a real honor to be asked, and also to serve on a panel with other mayors to talk about all of the great things that are done through the DRA, through our development districts, and through workforce development. The conference is actually paying for some of the travel one night. They also are providing, they wanted to give me an honorarium of $150. I told them when I represent the city as mayor and I drive in the city car, I do not accept an honorarium. I've asked them to pay that to the city of Natchez instead. So the cost of the city will be my per diem. I will be in the city car and also one night of lodging. And so I'd like to ask for permission to make that trip this week. Thank you. A motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Discussion. We'll call for the question. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. We've really been cutting back on some travel, and when we can, I'm so grateful, like Ron Porter, working out a trade to cover the cost of attending that conference for Parks and Recreation. I just want to, a lot has been said, so I don't need to repeat reports. I'll just say some great Black History programs, great opportunity to honor our senior teachers who are retired. You were not one of those at that level yet, Miss Jackson, but Mr. Jackson, Larry Jackson, was definitely recognized, and actually NAPAC organized a panel, and you were on that panel, Mr. Jackson. It was such an honor being there with you and Ms. Jackson. Wow.
Jackson was my principal.
Wow. And Mr. Jackson, what you shared and the loving way in which you shared it, how you were there for all students, regardless of color.
Absolutely.
It really touched my heart Thursday night. We were at Rose Hill Baptist Church, which is a beautiful historic church. If you've never seen it, and the pipe organ and the ambiance of that great church, you really missed out. It's the oldest Black church in Mississippi.
Yep.
And of course, it's right here in Natchez. Ben Tucker surprised me at the radio station this evening, and we talked about Black history and a lot of our war heroes from Natchez and our veterans, and I really enjoyed that. It's great to live in this city. But I'm going to say this. I am very sensitive to the discussions going on about the tax appraisals that were done this past year. And I have looked into it, and I have talked to various individuals, and it is very apparent that these appraisals have been too much. I actually, I know the county is in charge of the appraisals, but if at any point the city could go in with the county on a reappraisal of these properties, I just think we got to be aware that our people who are here many of them are not able to afford this. Some also, it's a deterrent in living here when the taxes are so high. And so I just want to share that I am very empathetic to this situation. Also, we, with great transparency, last year in our budgeting process, we stated we were keeping our millage rate the same. It's been unchanged since 2016. It's the lowest millage rate in the county. And I actually had an article in the paper, in the Bluff City Post, also online in e-blast, to that effect. Just letting people know, prices have gone up in so many cases since COVID. It's been very difficult for us to even keep pace with salaries and to keep our public works and public employees in the police department, fire department properly paid. And also the price of everything, everybody knows, has just gone up so much. However, in our budgeting process, I don't think we ever expected that anyone would be seeing a 30% or more increase
Mr. Mayor,
on their taxes. And I just have to, if I could, everyone's had their report. This is my turn.
Okay.
I just want to say that I am empathetic to it, and I'm here. If people have been reaching out to me, and anyone who wants to discuss this with me, I'm happy to. The city does not handle the appraisal process. No. The county handles the appraisal process. But I will give this personal example. In 2021, a property I owned in the city of Natchez was reappraised, and the taxes doubled. I happened to have a current appraisal, and I presented that appraisal to the tax assessor's office. That appraisal trumped what is the tax appraisal. Tax appraisals are sometimes actually done by individuals at a computer using Google Earth. Sometimes call them drive-bys. And they don't use recent sales data in the real estate market. When I presented this current appraisal, the tax assessor had no choice but to bring the value back down to what the appraisal said. I would give that advice to anyone. In fact, I shared that advice in my column last fall. If you feel like you have been improperly treated, you might want to consider looking at an appraisal, getting one done, and presenting that to the tax assessor. Alderwoman Hall.
Mr. Mayor, I think the reason this is such a shock to people is because they probably forgot, as most of us did forget, the state or the counties across Mississippi had until 2025 to raise their taxes.
Right.
This has been going on for several years.
Right.
2025 was the deadline. And so Adams County waited until the very end to do this.
Yes.
So that's why it's such a shock to people.
Yes.
But this has been going on. This notification came out last summer, again, preparing people that this was going to happen.
Right.
So it's not anything new, but the value was a shock.
It is. Alderwoman Smith.
I do. I mean, although the county does handle this, it is outsourced through another company. And I think that as citizens, we have the right to know what is their formula? How are they coming up with these? And the discrepancy between, even in my own neighborhood, it's very severe. So can we formally request to find out that they find out how it's done?
We certainly can. We certainly can. I know in our budgeting process, we were told to expect possibly a 16% increase, and I'm hearing that increases are double that.
Up to 30.
I think Alderwoman Hall, you're exactly right. It was done at the very last year, but also I do believe that the appraisals have been high. I just really believe they've been high. Alderwoman Irving.
And I do agree with Alderwoman Hall as well, because that information was out there, but it was not disseminated enough in the community. I mean, you have to use, when it's something like that that impacts this entire community, you use all form of vehicles to disseminate that information out. And that's something that did not happen. And then when you get this in the mail, you know, I am disappointed, upset, wanting explanations as to why the cost is so high than what it was last year.
Right.
But you have to provide the public with information.
That's right.
And the ball was dropped.
I applaud the Natchez Democrat, because going back to last summer, they were very good at reporting on this. They had good editorials. They reported the budgeting process for the county, the city, and the school board. And I tried to do that as well in my messaging. But Alderwoman Smith?
Just one last thing, because probably all of us have been asked this question. So I've had some people say to me, you know, when someone permits to do any construction on their home, do we pass that on to the county? How does that work with, my point is that they say, you know, are you penalized for upgrading your property to make your property safe and better?
We don't report those things to the county on just permits that are taken out at City Hall, to my knowledge. The only things that are reported is if anyone has applied for the tax abatement that we put in place. I also just want to share, in those conversations, the city actually did sign legal documents when we gave those tax abatements. The county did not give tax abatements when the individuals who got the tax abatement went to the county to apply for the tax abatement on their city taxes. The county used that information to then increase the value for the county taxes. Wow. That's what happened, and we hated seeing that happen. But I do want to say, Mr. Attorney, I know you've already looked into this, but I would like for you to look into this more. I had a conversation with someone just last week on the fact that the city, in good faith, did agree that we would abate their taxes. I know it could be said, well, the state tax commission has said this, the county has done these reappraisals. The city still, though, has made an agreement to abate these taxes with those individuals. And I would like some guidance from the state tax commission or from the attorney general's office on what supersedes the other. I believe that the city has made a promise. We need to keep that promise. And I don't believe that the state can come in here and force us to do something that would cause us to violate a promise that we have made through our historic tax abatement program. which is to abate their taxes for 7 years. And so I would like some guidance from the Department of Public Revenue and also from the Attorney General's office on that. Alderwoman Smith, to your point just a moment ago, what would you like for us to request of the county?
How that company does their appraisals.
How that
How they
company,
come up with, what's their formula?
What's
how do
their
they do it,
formula?
And the process.
and their process for coming up with these appraisals. Well, we will certainly ask for that explanation. Would you like to make that in the form of a motion?
Sure.
Motion has been made by Alderwoman Smith that we request a breakdown of the process by which the county does these appraisals, utilizing a vendor. And I understand Mr. Herring has done this for Adams County and 13 other counties. And so do I have a second to that motion? Alderman Maroney has made a second to that motion. We'll have discussion. We'll call the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. And I'm still not opposed to a later date if it seems that this continues to be such an outrageous inflation of values that we consider asking the county to go in with us on a reappraisal of city properties. We will now call for a motion to adjourn. And in doing that, to have a moment of silence for those individuals who have been mentioned this evening. Do I have that motion? Motion made by Alderwoman Smith,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Irving. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries. We will now have a moment of silence. Amen. Thank you so much. Everyone have a wonderful evening.